Hey nerds, this is Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd, and you are watching CW's Flash, Theories and Conspiracies. This week was episode 17, All-Star Team Up, and we had a lot going on here. You know, the inclusion of Ray Palmer's The Atom was fantastic. New supervillain, and just the continuing explanation of what's going on with the time traveling and Eobard Thawne and all of that. So let's just get right to it. So first, the villain this week, who Cisco and Ray named the Bug-Eyed Bandit. The Bug-Eyed Bandit is actually normally a male character in the comics, and actually is a Atom villain. So it made sense that they brought Atom in and used this villain together for this episode. Now, it's interesting because I feel like this character is a combination of two characters from the comic. On one hand, you have the Bug-Eyed Bandit, and then the other one you have Queen Bee, who's associated with Hive. And Hive is rumored to be coming into play in Season 2, and we know that this character, this villain, will be coming back in Season 2. So it's interesting what they're setting up here, kind of a rival organization. So you've got because they are very tech oriented, Hive. And so you've got a rival organization to Barry and his team of kind of super scientists. So that's pretty cool, and it was a lot of fun. So, you know, you also got a tease, I think, for Ray getting his suit to be able to shrink when he walked off with that bee, and, you know, talking about, instead of going bigger with his power source, going smaller. So that was cool. Then, of course, more on Ray, Adam, played by Brandon Routh. Everyone has to know him best from playing Superman in Superman Returns. There was tons of Superman jokes throughout the episode. So if you didn't, I'm sure you caught all those, and that's what they were kind of playing towards, is that he was Superman. Next, time travel. We got some pretty cool time travel stuff here. Everything that's just, there's so much going on. Now, really quick, there was an Easter egg in, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but when we saw more of the night that Barry's mom was killed, if you go through slowly, and I apologize, the screenshot's really bad, but the logo on the Flash's costume is actually different than the one that is currently on Barry's costume. It has a white background as opposed to the red background that Barry currently has. Now, I think this plays into the theory I have that was older Barry, not young Barry, at that moment, which I think we all pretty much knew. So when young Barry does go back in time, it's going to cause some issues, and that will probably lead to Flashpoint. But there are two theories, two prevailing theories on who this Flash is. One is that it is Barry, and it's just a new costume. We know he's almost out of costumes that Cisco has made, so he's due for a change and an upgrade soon. I think they only had 2 or 3 of those costumes, and he's burned through them pretty quick. So, and that may be how they start Season 2. New costume with the kind of the white background on the logo. Now, the other theory that is out there that a lot of people like is that it's not actually Barry Allen, it's Wally West. Wally West was one of the next in the lineage of the Flash. West, obviously, kind of related to the Iris West family. I'm not entirely sure how the family trees all work out, but he is related in some sense. If you saw the Young Justice cartoon, Wally West was the main speedster that was focused on there, and he was Kid Flash. But so that's the other theory, is that it's Wally West and not Barry. Their costumes are slightly different. It should be noted, nowhere in the comic does Barry ever have a logo that has the red background, so that's not a hint as to exactly which speedster it is. But so future Barry with new costume or Wally West are the two biggest theories going around right now. Now, the time travel stuff also means we have to talk about Cisco. He's starting to get kind of a bleed through of the previous timeline where he died. And part of the reason he could be experiencing that and no one else is, besides obviously Barry, who is the one who did the time traveling, is because he's now been almost infected with the Speed Force. When Eobard Thawne vibrated his hand and stabbed him, he was hit by the Speed Force in some sense. So it's possible that that is what's giving him these dreams of what happened and that. And now he's been hit with the Speed Force again, more or less, when Barry came in and gave him the kind of the electric shock to jumpstart his heart. So my theory is that these two events, and the more he interacts with the Speed Force, are what going to cause him to become Vibe. In the comics, he becomes Vibe because he's trapped between dimensions just for a split second when a boom tube, which is kind of a transportation device to go to and from places, opens up, and he gets kind of stuck there for a fraction of a second. It's a little weird and complicated for what they're doing for the show, so I think just the fact that he is being physically affected by the Speed Force is going to be enough to give him his Vibe powers. Now, a cool thing about Cisco is one of his brothers actually does become a villain that he has to fight. Not Dante, who we've met, which I thought would have been cool if that's the case, but his other brother, and I don't know if we've actually met him or if they've mentioned him, but it's Armando, and he becomes a guy named Rupture. I doubt we'll see that, but it's just kind of a cool thing to acknowledge. So, Cisco is seeing dreams and whether it's when he's asleep or awake, of that other timeline. This can pose a serious problem for Dr. Wells, but also for Eddie. If Cisco is able to remember that it is Eobard Thawne, then he'll put two and two together that Thawne is Eddie's last name also. And that can cause some serious rifts in their team dynamic. Now, I want to say that I love the show, but it always does seem to come to a crawl when Iris is on the screen. So I'm really hoping they give her something good coming up. Eddie can't be the one to come out and tell her who Barry is. Initially, I thought Barry was going to have to be the one, but because he can't let the reason they break up be because Eddie, didn't reveal the secret. So it's going to have to be that Iris figures it out. And I'm really hoping we see a lot more of how good of a journalist she really is, because right now she's just kind of looking for clues from her boyfriend and her dad, and they need to step up how the quality of journalist she is, because in the comics she's a fantastic journalist. So that, I think, is something to hopefully look forward to, is that Iris is really going to crack down. A whole episode of her kind of just figuring it out, I think, would be nice. And so hopefully we'll get something along that lines. What do you think? Do you think they are on the track to introduce Cisco as Vibe? Do you think it's Wally West in the future, or do you think it's just a new costume? And what do you think about the bad guy, the bug-eyed bandit, or the queen bee? Let me know. Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to hit me up on Facebook or the blog, YouTube, all the good stuff. So for Good Nerd, Bad Nerd, this is Brian, and you've been watching CW's Flash, Theories and Conspiracies.